In this video, I want to share about my journey in becoming a teacher and a leader as an introvert and as a sensitive person. I'm going to share how it started, how it grew, and how it's going currently. And within all these phases, I will share what challenged me, what helped me, and what I learned. And I hope that if you are on a similar journey, that all of it will help you too. So let's start right at the beginning. So the end of 2019 was when I just finished my Tantra training and my university studies in Tantra. This is when I started to play with the idea that I might want to guide women's groups or this kind of work for women. I already taught some meditation classes after I finished my yoga teacher training. The yoga turned very quickly into meditation, so that was very clear for me what I actually preferred teaching. Also, fun fact, I taught meditation at a cat cafe. And then at the beginning of 2020, I said, okay, I'm gonna give myself 1 year to just play around, to just fuck around, have no pressure, have no goals, to just see how it goes, to see how it feels for me. At the same time, I'm going to keep working little random jobs to give myself the financial stability. This was key for me because I didn't want to put that pressure, that financial pressure on what I was creating. I committed to the concept of a shitty first draft. Everything I'm doing is just going to be a shitty first draft, which is an epic concept by Anne Lamott. And that basically means everything is always evolving. Nothing has to be perfect. Nothing has to be finished. You're just trying and see where it takes you. For this entire time, my motto was literally YOLO. What also helped me a lot was doing the desire map by Danielle Laporte, where you create your guiding words. That is also something I highly recommend if you start this journey, because I had these 4 words that were like my core desired feelings, and they were the sort of the northern star that I kept following. So I had this YOLO attitude, I had this time frame, I had this curious attitude, and then I just basically started bluffing. My friend, who was already further on this path, asked me to start a course with her, to guide a course with her, and I was like, sure. And then a few weeks later, I was standing in front of a group of 20 women teaching for the first time that specific stuff in my life. And I think this is important because we don't become teachers by just studying. We become teachers by teaching. And as I stood there and I was teaching, I realized, oh my gosh, I actually got this. I actually love this. This is easy for me. This feels good. It comes across. The women are touched. And through that, you actually gain confidence. Confidence is really based on experience. And there's a quote by Amy Porterfield that I love. She says, courage is something you choose. Confidence is something you earn. And that is true. The courage is something you have to gather from yourself internally. And then from that place, you're able to show up. And by showing up, you gain confidence because you realize, oh, I can do this. I got this. So the biggest question in that phase of the journey is, how can I gather and cultivate courage? Because that is that initial drive that will allow you to do the things, to try, to gather proof, to gather experience. First, you need to feel courageous enough to even start. In a few weeks, I'm going to share a video specifically about courage, how to cultivate it for yourself so that you can literally do anything because you're like, so this was the first phase of my journey where I was adopting this playful attitude, this YOLO energy, and at the same time, curiosity, like learning as much as I could. I was watching all the YouTube videos, listening to all the podcasts, doing all the free courses or courses that I could afford to learn how to start a business, how to do marketing, how to create a product. I was absorbing so much knowledge the whole time and applying that. I invite you to adopt this attitude of, I can learn anything. I can literally learn anything. There are no subjects that I cannot learn. I really believe that any human can learn everything. It just takes time. It just takes energy. But if you're going to sit down today and do a course in marketing, you get it. So that's what I started doing. I started applying those marketing tricks for Instagram growth, for connections, for visibility. I focused on influencers and other people that were further ahead on the path because I knew that I needed them to open my world, to help me with my visibility. And that just worked. Even though it was growing slowly, it was still very quiet at my social media. And that is a phase you need to get through, obviously. But what really helped for me in this time is to approach it as my individual art project, or my little mood board that I was creating with images and stories that I loved. So I really did it for myself. I wrote what I loved. I posted the pictures that I found beautiful. It takes away the pressure of wanting people to like it because you're like, I love it. This is beautiful. And when it came to developing my product, I used a strategy that I also learned, which was ask people that represent your ideal client or the people you want to serve, and ask them, what are they struggling with? What do they need? What are they dreaming of? And for me, this was kind of easy because my friends were all basically my ideal clients. So I would just ask them, like cute interview style, like, what are you struggling with in your daily life? What would you love to learn? Or what support do you need? For many of us in this field, ourselves, but 5 years ago, is our perfect client because that person is a few steps back, not too many, is on the same journey, but just lacks the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience that we have. And that is exactly the power that we have, and that is the wisdom that we can share. So if you are in a similar field like me, connect with her, with that person that you were 5 years ago, and ask, what do you need? What do you desire? What do you struggle with? And see if based on that you can create a product. So this is basically the first phase. This is when it slowly started growing, when I had like 400 followers, and it was mostly quiet, but also it was fine. People started to sign up for my free offers. I did a lot of those. I had like a few people buying my courses. I had lots of discounts to just make it very accessible and introduce myself, basically. And then in 2021, that's when things started to actually take off for me. This is the cool thing with the work that I do. It sort of enforces itself. Once you got testimonials and once people start feeling the transformation, they start raving about it. And you got these incredible stories of people that you can share. And then other people are like, oh my gosh, there's something to this. I want to sign up too. And then it just sort of spirals upwards. And then in March 2021, I learned that Instagram Reels were doing well, or were supported by Instagram. So I was like, YOLO, once again, let's give it a try. So I started doing that, figuring out I actually loved it. I actually loved finally finding a place for my humor. And that's what I found in Reels, which were hugely supported by Instagram at the time. So this is an example of getting lucky by being at the right place at the right time, because my Reels just started doing really well. And this is when my audience grew from like 2,000 to 10,000 in, I think it was 1 month, when a few Reels just sort of went viral, I guess. Whereas before, my Instagram audience was this cute, sort of intimate community. It was now this audience that I was speaking to. I was much more visible, and because of that also more judged. And this was also the time when woke culture and correctness was peaking, and that created this deep anxiety in me of saying the wrong thing. And I had my fair share of angry direct messages of people correcting me. And that just made me more and more anxious to speak, because I was so worried I was using the wrong words, even the wrong letters. Everything just felt like a minefield. Up until that point, I was able to create safety in myself when sharing, really holding myself, taking care of myself. But at this point, that actually wasn't enough anymore. I couldn't compensate with all my tools and all my practices to soothe that anxiety that was triggered by the visibility on Instagram. The one place where I felt safe in this whole situation was in my courses when I was teaching, because those women that were there were committed. I felt safe with them. It was this enclosed community where I could be myself and do what I love, teaching. By that time, the beginning of 2021, I also gave up on those part-time jobs because I was actually able to sustain myself financially, which was a huge win, and I was really proud of that. At the same time, that created a new sort of dependency on the success of my launches and on the sales of my product. So my structure looked like this. I sold a course every few months. That created this big wave of income where sometimes I had lots of money and then for months no income at all. And then the stress of like, fuck, is it gonna do well? What if it doesn't? Then I don't have money for another few months. This created that deep financial stress, which I believe is so primal. It reflects whether we can feed ourselves and whether we can have shelter. This financial stress and the social media stress sort of resulted in some serious burnout symptoms at the end of 2021, which freaked me out. And also my friend who had been through a burnout the year previously, that made me like, whoa, okay, I need to slow down. I need to take a proper break. And I did. Sadly, this wasn't the end of the anxiety. When I started again in 2022, the anxiety just continued and started peaking again. And this actually reached its climax when in the beginning of 2022, I figured out that there was this huge Russian astrology account that had been copying all my posts and all my stories, pretending to be me and selling fake services, astrology sessions and stuff. That account had like 70,000 followers, and many people had lost a lot of money falling for their trap. And they came to me saying that I did it. It was both really scary for me to receive angry messages and also to see this account using such intimate things, such intimate stories. Like I want to make my Instagram content really vulnerable, and then to see it used by somebody for like evil purposes, just I think something snapped in me that I was like, I tried to sort it out with Instagram, no response. That also made me feel like, okay, there's no help here, This all leads me to the current phase of my work, which sort of started the end of 2022, the end of last year, when because of this a problem with Instagram and also the anxiety around financial instability, I decided to revisit my business completely, to just restructure. And so what I did is I decided to commit to creating my own platform, my own membership site that is private, that is paid, so that only people can come in who really care about this stuff, that I feel safe amongst these people, and that there is no censorship, and that I have financial stability. Once that happened and 130 people signed up for the first opening in September, it was suddenly, poof, my worries were gone. And that is sort of where I am now. So this was a 3-year journey, basically. And it's quite epic to look back at it and see how it all sort of unfolded. I want to end this video with sharing 4 lessons that I learned on a journey of becoming a leader as an introvert and sensitive person, in case you are one too and you're also on this path, and I hope that they will help you. The first one is cultivate deep self-intimacy. Get really familiar with yourself. Get really comfortable with who you are. And by that I mean know what kind of personality you have, know how you respond to things. You learn by experience and self-development work. Other ways to learn is to ask friends, to ask how they perceive you, what they love about you, what makes you unique. This sounds maybe weird to ask, but please do it because it's so beautiful to do. Another thing that really helped me is personality tests. Also, human design or astrology can help with this. The second lesson is to create safety for yourself. You know when you are not feeling safe, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling stressed, when you're avoiding, when you're feeling overwhelmed. All of these are signs of unsafety. I figured out there are 3 kinds of safeties. There is emotional safety, so that means having the ability to self-regulate, to hold yourself, to cry, to process energy, to process emotions, to be there with yourself. Mental safety, the second kind of safety, is having clarity, having structure, knowing where you're going, having financial clarity. Like these rational things that we can often avoid because we just want to be flowing, but that actually creates a lot of unsafety, and that is a huge energy leak. The third and final kind of safety is spiritual safety. So that is having a connection with the universe, having a connection with your ancestors, having a connection with spirit guides or with your altar. For me, I would always have a picture of my grandma who passed, just connect with her energy. I would always wear this crystal necklace. Even though I was a rational person, it just made me feel safe. Think about what kind of spiritual things would make you feel safer. The third lesson is to follow goodness. So this is just your sort of spirit or soul communicating what's good for you. If you don't feel excited about something, don't do it. If you feel excited about something, know that that's like a signpost. It's life calling you that way. And you can trust that. So I stopped doing one-on-one work. I stopped doing podcast interviews. I stopped doing collabs because it didn't feel exciting. It felt much more exciting for me to create free challenges or to teach to big groups, and that's okay. It's okay. We all have different things that we enjoy, so allow yourself to follow that. Sometimes this is not possible, you know, when something doesn't feel exciting, but you have to do it, like finances. Then the key is to make it cozy. Make it cozy. Get a cute notebook, get a cute pen, make your Excel sheet cute. The final lesson is energy management, especially as an introvert. You need a lot of time to recharge. So make sure that you block out some time on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis to just recharge. Another way to do this is when you plan your week, which is also something I recommend, plan your week and see what are energy givers, what are energy takers. And then mark them and make sure that it's balanced. That you know, okay, this is taking a lot of energy from me, this feels stressful, but it's compensated by all these things that nourish me. That was it. Thank you for listening. If you feel excited about receiving more support with this, like self-connection, softness, grounding, then you are so welcome to join Temple. The doors are going to open in March and the waiting list is open, which includes a beautiful bonus. So I'll link that in the description, and yeah, feel free to get in there. I send you a lot of love and I'll see you in the next video.